Hello, welcome to another video about the truth, written and directed by Conspiracy Productions. Before I proceed, if you like what you hear from us, please press like and subscribe. It's very important to share these videos so others are in the loop about what is really going on in the world. This is no conspiracy. Everything I am going to say now, I have researched 100%, as is everything I say, and so this is all factual with no personal opinions from me. The world we live in is run by unbelievably sick people. The people at the top practice satanic rituals in order to get dark power. Most people in power in the governments, the royal family, the elite, and the people in the Vatican also molest children, not because they want to, or for pleasure, no, but because they have been told that as they are pure, it is the fastest way to getting attention from the dark one as a way of getting power. It is the same reason human sacrifice is a normal part of the life of the elite, even mock sacrifices, because it brings dark energy. It also brings dark energy when you take a life. So I will use this for an example of when this occurs. When the elite set up the Twin Towers, this was for a few reasons: infiltration of other countries and spying laws, but more importantly, because they have learned in energy and magic that if you take many lives at once, it creates a huge dark cloud of energy from the dark entities, and subsequently they can derive more power than if they just killed one person. If you do not believe at any point anything I say, feel free to do your own research, and don't forget thumbs up and subscribe. To start with, let me talk about a critical subject. Most are genetically modified organisms. Most are toxic, and as their molecular structure has been altered, by way of manipulation of the gene or DNA sequence, this in turn causes mutations in whatever is eating it. They knew this when it was passed and allowed to go into the food supply of the world. In the FDA they say we protect the public, assuring foods are safe, wholesome, sanitary, and properly labeled. This is so far from the truth I cannot begin to explain. This is the work of the FDA. The FDA is a revolving door. Over the past decades alone, 9 high-ranking employees in the FDA were employed with Monsanto. In case you didn't know, Ajinomoto is the creator of the toxin monosodium glutamate, who are closely related to Monsanto. Monsanto is also the creator of most genetically modified organisms. They make aspartame, the most deadliest toxin added to most soft drinks as a sweetener. Aspartame is the fecal matter from the E. coli bacteria. Monsanto is also the creator of the artificial hormone injected into dairy cows to make them produce more milk, also known as somatropin. They also are the creator of Roundup, which is the most toxic substance known to plants, as it causes mutations within human beings that consume the plants that are affected. 99.9% of all corn in the world is NK603 genetically modified corn made by Monsanto, meaning close to every single thing you see that's made of corn is Monsanto NK603 corn that is proven to cause mutations in rodents, and they allow it into the food supply. This is a huge threat to all humankind, as we all have to eat to survive, and now it's a game of dancing on glass, because we must be so careful in what we consume, as anything that's molecular structure is incomplete and unnatural, and modified or altered will cause alterations or modifications in the human or animal that eats that genetically modified organism. Tumors, also known as mutations, also known as cancer. I find it very hard to explain the depth in which these people go to make profit, but unfortunately at the expense of the people's health. The people that make these chemicals at Monsanto also work high up in the FDA, so that they can approve their OWN toxins. It is a clear conflict of interest. The pharmaceutical industry is in on this too, allowing it, even once they know the cause and effects. Which again is such a critical threat. And yes, I get told all the time by sheep, they say no. Genetically modified is only a conspiracy. It doesn't do anything wrong to us. Oh my. His head truly is in the clouds. In turn I produce NK603 Monsanto papers that prove from their own mouths what it does to animals. I have heard firsthand in one of these organizations. I don't care what lobbyists you need to get the funds you need, get the people you need, just get it done. By the time they realize about it, we will be long gone, already made all the money, and after all, we don't have to eat, to do we? That says it all. If the people that are creating and passing these chemicals won't eat their own produce, what does that say about the produce? Monsanto is the most dangerous company on the planet because of their blatant lust for toxins and blatant disregard and lies they go through in order to feed the masses and make a profit. 10 irrefutable evidence that GMO can harm you. Nature is a living organism that functions through every cell and organ that is working together. There is nothing isolated in nature and everything is connected with one another. All these years, science has been trying to discover and explore complexity that exists in nature. However, even the most advanced 3D engineering modeling and analysis cannot fully understand all the parameters and complexities that exists within the universe, and sometimes the results aren't even half close to reality. Although technology, industrialization and innovation have been revolutionary in human beings' life, at the same time they have resulted in dysfunction, scarcity and even destruction of our planet. In the last few decades, one of the crises that our planet has been facing is modern agricultural. Extensive farming, use of pesticides, herbicides, chemical fertilizers, genetically modified foods or crops, and invention of hormones and antibiotics that are fed to our livestock have drastically changed everything. Only 3% of U.S. farmlands are planted with fruits and vegetables, while 50% of farms are used for planting soy and corn. Even farmers treat what they plant as a commodity rather than food. With the anti-GMO labeling policies in America, there is no way that you would know whether or not what you buy in grocery stores are genetically modified. Even if you only buy organic foods, how could you know that the original seeds weren't genetically modified? In the last 3 decades, industrialized agriculture, biotechnology and extensive use of pesticides, herbicides and chemical fertilizers have resulted in a nutrient-deficient soil, mineral and nutritional deficiencies in soil, weak immune system in human beings and animals, new diseases, viruses and global warming. Environmental and health impact of GMO seeds and crops. Studies and research shows that soil microorganisms are very essential for soil fertility. Over 100 million microorganisms and over 1,000 species live in 1 gram of productive soil. Without these microorganisms, including fungi, bacteria, algae and insects, plants wouldn't obtain the essential nutrition for growth. In genetic engineering, a number of different genes are inserted into the recipient organism. Many scientists are concerned that engineering crops could contaminate wild plants with new genes and that could result in production of widely spread viruses. GMO crops could be a danger to flies, insects, birds and other animals and could be a threat to crop diversity. Here are actual cases of GMOs' harm to humans and livestock that we eat. 1. There have been numerous cases where animals have died or became seriously ill and were put down in order to avoid mass contamination or to calm down the panic that would have caused even more damage to the food industry. In Hesse, Germany, many cows died suddenly when they were fed with Syngenta's genetically engineered maize cow food, and as a result of this incident the authorities in Germany decided to slaughter the rest of the cows to avoid having the mysterious disease to get out and contaminate other cattle houses. Syngenta did admit that the protein used for the cow food maize is also used for human genetically engineered foods. Oh dear, why has Syngenta now withdrawn this protein from human genetically engineered foods? 2. Why should you be concerned that cows eating GMO foods died and or got contaminated with a mysterious disease? Because, if you eat meat or chicken that is contaminated as a result of a GMO with re-engineered DNA that is contaminated with a pathogen, then the DNA genes contaminate your cells and are also harmful to you. These DNA genes can be inserted into your own genes. 3. Roundup-ready soy was given to mother rats as food during a study, and it was discovered that 53% of the babies born died within a couple of weeks, about 10 times worse than normal. The biochemical form and structure of rats are very similar to human, which is why they are used so often for studies to protect humans against various diseases. So the study should be of a major concern to FDA and other authorities that are concerned with health impediments of GMOs. What should be even more concerning to FDA is that the GMO soybeans given to these rats caused serious disturbances to the liver by changing the cellular function of the liver and the cell nucleus, which may cause serious changes to the way our body operates at the biological level. Who knows how far this may go? Maybe in a few years of nucleus changes, men will leave and get pregnant since some already are growing breasts due to consumption of hormones. 4. If you don't eat beef or don't much care about rats, then do you like lamb? When was the last time you had lamb kebabs or lamb cutlets? Nearly 2,000 sheep have died after grazing on GMO cotton crops and were found to have severe toxicity and inflammation of intestines, and the same toxin exists in GMO foods intended for future release to people, starting in Asia and Africa. 6. In UK, GMO soy was put through a thorough test on a group of students at Sheffield University, half on GMO soy and the other on non-GMO soy, and the research was conducted with all other parameters being equal, for example water consumption, diet size, environmental factors, etc. By the end of the research, the GMO soy-fed subjects were experiencing some allergies, with 50% of them experiencing long-term allergies, compared to no GMO soy-fed subjects. 5. In United States, gastrointestinal diseases, chronic and acute, have increased dramatically since mid-90s, and this has been linked to GMO foods given to sheep. In Sweden, where no GMO foods are allowed for humans or cattle, there has been no change whatsoever. Scientists are still researching the inflammation causes to the intestine, and the study will take another 2 years to complete, while GMO foods are still being given to sheep in US. 7. In laboratory tests, again and again, animals avoided GMO foods compared to non-GMO equivalent. Should we trust the instincts of animals that live based on their instincts? 8. Argentina has been one of them first countries to convert half of their arable land to GMO food production, and are now the country with a major serious agricultural nightmare, which has resulted in more than 20,000 farmers losing their land and livelihoods to super weeds that have destroyed the soil, and is now a major agricultural crisis in the world. In India, every 30 minutes, one farmer commits suicide because of devastating side effects of genetically modified organisms. 9. Scientists and genetic engineers themselves, if not coerced nor threatened with unemployment, or worse, tell us that GMO as used in crop development is not precise or predictable and has not been shown to be safe. The technique can result in the unexpected production of toxins or allergens in food that are unlikely to be spotted in current regulatory checks. 10. The scariest of them all, the authorities, FDA and others, as well as food corporations, protest profusely to any kind of labeling of GMO foods. I don't know about you, but that certainly concerns me that they would be so adamantly against labeling and so vehemently fighting against it, as if they have nothing better to do. Why are they so much against it? What is wrong with labeling or essentially saying, some foods are GMO, and we, FDA, as well as our partners, food companies, don't think there is anything wrong with them, but for the informed consumer's choice and for fairness, we decided to include it in the labeling. The fact that they assume that they know best and that they are the informed, logical, and trustworthy entity, and us, the people, who want labeling, are ignorant, fearful, and paranoid, tells me that they are hiding something. Why not be open and truthful and let people decide if they want GMO in their food or not? In a free country, should we not have the choice to eat GMO-free foods if we want?